Yeah. Analytics off the chain, other channels not the same. Jake and Kyle, you know the name. Headliner Nation, we running the game. I'm a headliner.
What's going on, Headliner Nation? Jake, Fantasy Headliners. Hopefully you're doing well out there still today as we continue to drop video after video after video after video. You get the idea. Tons of episodes coming up here today with the NFL Draft. Lots of things to talk about. Now, we've already talked about our first round winners. So to keep things fair, we got to talk about those first round losers, and there were a few of them there. Not a ton of losers in the first round of the NFL Draft. I got to be completely honest, right? There was a lot of winners. I struggled to find 5 losers. Now, obviously, you as a fan of whatever team you love may see things a little bit different. Maybe you didn't get the sexy draft pick at the time, but they took the smart pick, so they're not really a loser, right? So let's go ahead and kick it off with the first one, which is not going to be any surprise to anybody whatsoever. Hit that like button for me if you can. It's Lamar Jackson of the Baltimore Ravens. Now, Kyle mentioned Lamar Jackson's displeasure with them trading away Marquise Hollywood Brown. We've seen words come out that Hollywood has kind of had these talks with Lamar before, that Hollywood didn't really seem like he fit the system. He wanted to go somewhere else. So why not go to Arizona where he can go back with his college quarterback in Kyler Murray and more of a high-powered passing style offense? Great, but that doesn't help Lamar Jackson. We've been saying for years that we need to surround this guy with a ton of offensive weapons. We're trying to build him up as a pocket passer at times, right? We don't want to completely limit his rushing ability, but we also don't want him to continually get hurt on an annual basis to where we can't utilize the guy's skill set. So surround him with talent. They started to last year with the drafting of Rashad Bateman, who we still like a lot, especially now because the target share is going to be there. But after Bateman, you have Mark Andrews, and that's about it. We can't handle Lamar Jackson losing potential stud targets. Now, you may be saying, Jake, it was Hollywood Brown. He's not a stud. You're exactly right. He may not be the upper echelon of the wide receiving option, but you're talking about losing a 1,000-yard receiver in an offense that doesn't rely heavily on the pass. That is a big hole. Now, obviously, Rashad Bateman, as of right now, his stock is skyrocketing, because the target share could be huge. Same for him and Mark Andrews. Do the Baltimore Ravens add somebody else in the draft? I think they kind of have to at some point. Need to wait and find out with that. But as of right now, Lamar Jackson, he's not happy. He's out there tweeting WTF. He doesn't like what's going on right now either. He wants more weapons as well. He sees these other teams in the NFL just stockpiling wide receivers and building mega offenses. And then he goes to his wide receiver room and Rashad Bateman's sitting there by himself. You know what I mean? So he needs more help there in Baltimore. Hopefully they can continue to find him another weapon or two before the start of the season. Another quarterback. I think we've kind of just come to assume this on a yearly basis when it comes time to the NFL draft. There's no way, and I don't care what reports say, that Aaron Rodgers right now is not a first-round loser. Now, we've seen reports come out and how he talked to Pat McAfee and said, listen, they had, I believe it was like 6 or 7 wide receivers that they had first-round grades on, and had one of them been there at the time the Packers selected, they would have taken him, but they were all gone. They were all off the board. But apparently Green Bay doesn't realize, even though every other team does, that you can trade up in a draft. If you really like a player, you can trade up. You can trade up and get Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers. You think that you'd be willing to spend a little bit of draft capital to trade up and get somebody for Aaron Rodgers. That didn't happen. Another draft here in the first round with no offensive weapons going the way for Aaron Rodgers. They say that he knew about this going into the draft and that had all the guys been off the board, he knew to expect this, but come on. Why does Green Bay hate him so much, but yet pay him so much? I don't understand. They need more offensive weapons. We had somebody in the chat last night that says, hey, we need to put a little bit more respect on Allen Lazard's name. I love Allen Lazard. I think Allen Lazard is a great wide receiver in a certain role. He does not belong as the number 1 in a Green Bay Packers offense led by Aaron Rodgers. A number 2, number 3, perfect. A number 1, we need something more explosive than Allen Lazard, and Aaron Rodgers did not get that once again in the first round. Do they do anything as the draft progresses? Do they make any trades? Do they go out and try to go after an Odell Beckham? Maybe a Jarvis Landry. They need somebody else in Green Bay, and they didn't help Aaron Rodgers once again. So like usual, at the end of the first round of the NFL draft, Aaron Rodgers is once again a loser. This one kind of caught me off guard a little bit. I mean, they're not the best drafting team out there when it comes to, at least name recognition, but the New England Patriots got to be a loser. I mean, they got to be. They reached big time for Cole Strange. In fact, I don't know if you've seen it or not yet, but there was actually a video where they caught Sean McVay of the Rams. He was laughing at this pick and says, "Oh man, we actually scouted this guy thinking he'd be there at the 104th overall pick." Now, the Patriots obviously like the guy, and I'm not saying he's not talented at all, but he would have been there in the second round for them at the 54th overall pick. They did not need to reach into the first round for Cole Strange out of UT Chattanooga. No disrespect, Cole. I think you're a great offensive lineman. I just don't see why the Patriots passed on the likes of even like a Nakobe Dean at that point and still gotten Cole Strange a little bit later. The Patriots continue to make some puzzling moves that really don't make a whole lot of sense. Is Bill Belichick losing it? Is Belichick, did the dog make the draft pick from a few years ago? Remember that dog that was sitting at the lap? Maybe the dog hit the draft, but I don't know what's going on in New England, but there's a lot of Patriots fans that I know of are not happy with the reach on Cole Strange. What about Devontae Smith of the Philadelphia Eagles? Now, overall, the Eagles are winners, right? But Devontae Smith himself, now that he has to share targets with A.J. Brown in an offense that doesn't really pass that much, Jalen Hurts threw less pass attempts than any other starting quarterback that started the entire season last year, and the target share isn't going to go up, right? We knew Jalen Reagor was trending down. Devontae Smith could take that second-year leap, but now he's splitting targets with A.J. Brown in a very low passing-heavy offense. So I don't want to say that Devontae Smith is a loser. I don't think he's going to have the ability to maybe break out like a lot of people were kind of hoping for. Now, with the thing with Jalen Hurts is either you love him or you hate him. There's really no in between. Do I think that Jalen Hurts is a great pocket passer quarterback? No. Is he great for fantasy football? Yes, and this is definitely going to help him in fantasy football. You can't add A.J. Brown and have it be a bad thing. But when you look at the overall offense, these guys are going to kind of have to split touches, split targets, where maybe they wouldn't have had to without A.J. Brown. That goes for Dallas Goedert, that goes for Devontae Smith. So even though that they're not overall bad players, they do take a hit by adding in A.J. Brown. And then lastly, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. But it's not just the Steelers overall, because they took Kenny Pickett. We expected them to go with a quarterback. A lot of people were expecting Malik Willis, myself included. And then they passed on Malik Willis and went to Kenny Pickett, keeping him right there in Pittsburgh. So I actually have the Steelers pass catchers, Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, as first round losers right now, and here is why. Don't jump the gun and hit the dislike button or leave a hateful comment because you haven't even heard the reason why yet. I still expect at the start of this season for Mitchell Trubisky to be the starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Does that last the entire season? Probably not. At some point, they're going to transition to Kenny Pickett, especially if Trubisky gets hurt or struggles to start the year. How many weeks in is that? Is it 4, 5, 6 weeks or so? And then all of a sudden you transition to a rookie quarterback. Now you have these quarterback inconsistencies. You get the wide receivers on the same page with Mitchie Biscuits. And then you change over to Kenny Pickett, and they kind of have to gain that chemistry all over again. It could lead to some very, head-scratching weeks in Pittsburgh. Now, does that mean that the team is no good? No. Obviously, we didn't like Mason Rudolph. He wasn't the future. Mitchell Trubisky, we planned on him kind of being a bridge quarterback. Now, apparently, they want to move forward with Kenny Pickett as the new franchise. Nothing against Kenny Pickett just yet. I'm not a huge Kenny Pickett guy, but that's for another show. I just think that this could really lead to some of those inconsistencies that could cause Deontay Johnson to maybe not be as consistent on a weekly basis. Maybe we don't see that huge target share. Maybe Chase Claypool is the guy. We just don't know. There's a lot of question marks in this offense. Maybe they just say, hey, you know what? We're just going to be a run-heavy team this year, and we're going to pound Najee Harris between the tackles. There's so many different options that maybe the consistency we've seen in the past with Deontay Johnson just isn't there yet. So that's why I had to include him here as a potential first-round loser. But like I said, there's not a lot of options out there. There were a lot of teams that made a lot of great selections. Like I said, though, some of them aren't sexy, right? The offensive linemen and stuff, they aren't always what's going to make you, you yell and scream on draft night, but they were the smart pick for the franchise, so we can't call people losers for taking the less sexy picks. But I want to know what you think. Leave a comment down below in the comment section here. Who do you think is a first-round loser from the NFL draft? Do you think that they can rebound and make up for it in the later rounds here this weekend? Leave that comment down below. Looking forward to talking with you guys and going back and forth. Do me a favor if you can. Hit that like button. It greatly helps us out here on YouTube, and it's free to do. Greatly appreciate the support. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day, though. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, go do some more research for everything else coming up this weekend for the NFL draft. So have a great rest of your day, a great weekend. We'll talk to you later.
I'm a headliner.